We had a magical and confusing week 3 of the NFL, and we still have a game tonight. Whew, we have a lot to get to. Some injuries, some breakout performances, some not so great performances from people we thought were going to be great. So without further ado, my friends, let's get this show started.
You're watching Cold Brews and Hot Takes, only on FantasyNow Plus.
Welcome back to the cafe. Yes, I'm going to do this cheesy gimmick because listen, that's the way it's going to be here. I'm drinking my cold brew. I hope you're drinking your cold brews or your hot brews or whatever it may be. I just got a notification from the Starbucks application on my cell phone, and they're telling me autumn has arrived. Make sure you get your autumn drinks. Autumn. I don't know what that is. Someone explain to me what autumn is. Someone put it in the chat GPT what autumn is. It is still 1,000 degrees here in Florida. I don't know what autumn is. Someone explain to me what autumn is. But one thing I do know is it's fantasy football season and we are in the thick of it. It is week 3. What's going on? Broly619 in the chat. Thank you for watching on Twitch. We are here in week 3 and it's kind of like what's happening kind of situation. I heard on the local radio show this morning that it's week 3 and we just don't know what's going on. It's one of those funny weeks. It's one of those ridiculous weeks where things happen. Guess what, guys? That's every week. That's literally every week. Every week, something's going to happen that's going to shock you, whether it be Trey Tucker scoring 40,000 points, whether it be last year, Sincere McCormick taking over a backfield, whether it be Malik Neighbors not getting you double-digit fantasy points on Sunday Night Football. These things are going to happen. We just got to figure it out. You know, everyone in the fantasy industry, everyone told you, viewer, Will Howard is the guy. Aaron Rodgers is washed. He's not the guy. He's not going to sign with Pittsburgh. He's not going to sign anywhere. He's washed. The fantasy industry has become soapboxes. We all have our soapboxes. Everybody has to rush out and get their point across, whether they're right or wrong, including myself. This isn't targeted at anybody or anybody else. This is just as a whole. We take these stances, and then once the stances are incorrect or we're wrong or we're right, we just move on. This is the way it is. Well, who would have thought week 3 Aaron Rodgers is leading the league in touchdown passes? Who would have thought that? Who would have told you that Aaron Rodgers was still good at football? I'm still waiting for Will Howard. But that's not the whole purpose of the show, the whole premise of this episode of Cold Brews and Hot Takes. That's just something that's going on right now that we didn't see coming as a whole, as a community. We didn't see it coming. Daniel Jones, again, nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming at all. He is now taken over the NFL as a top starting quarterback, and nobody saw that coming. It is what it is, but we have to move on. We have to forget where we drafted these players, and we have to go, oh, this player we drafted high in our draft 4 or 5 weeks ago, that's in the past. We got to move on. We got to start who is starting. We got to start the players that are going to win us fantasy football championships. So buckle up, man. This is going to be a fun show. I cannot wait to get us started. Yes, small league trade JC and Bill and Javonte Williams for Pickens. Broly, I will get to your question in a second because that is a good one and a good question. So follow us everywhere, FantasyNowPlus.com. That's where our rankings are, our waivers, articles, DFS articles, underdog articles, all the fun stuff. Go to FantasyNowPlus.com. Join our Discord, chat.FantasyNowPlus.com, where you can have instant access to myself, Justin, Sean, Will, Brian, Pudge, every smart Topher, Michael, every smart person you see on this network, you'll have instant access to at chat.FantasyNowPlus.com. There's no paywalls. We're right there. And you can tag us, and we won't yell at you for tagging us. We won't, I promise. It's just if you tag us, we'll get to it. We won't yell at you for it. I promise. Fantasy Now Plus on Blue Sky. I'm not there, but everyone else is there, so go ahead and join that. And yeah, Finstock Sports Network. We are also streaming on the Finstock Sports Network. The Miami Dolphins were off this weekend. They lost to the Buffalo Bills Thursday night. But if you're into the Miami Dolphins at all, or you're watching on Finstock Sports Network right now, jump on over to fantasynowplus.com or our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the like button. You can go back to FTSN. I like those guys over there. Matter of fact, I do a wrestling show with the boss, Bobby Melendez. I do a wrestling show with the boss over there at FTSN every Saturday at 5 p.m. So let's get to the question right here before I get into the cream of the crop. Small league trade, JCM and Javonte Williams for Pickens. We saw CD Lamb leave the game with an injury, an ankle injury. So therefore, Pickens is the de facto number one at the moment. Or is he? Or is he? Or is it Jake Ferguson? Jake Ferguson is the tight end one right now. Jake Ferguson is balling out right now beyond control. I'm not getting rid of Javonte Williams for Pickens, even straight up. So no, I don't want to add JCM on top of that. Javonte Williams, whether he's going to continue this success or not, as he is the lead back and there's nobody there that's going to take his job. I do truly believe that Jordan Blue, he could step up later in the season, but I'm not really expecting it. Another darling we're all into. Javonte Williams has proven he is the lead back and is going to get the job done and has a nose for the end zone. So no, I'm not trading Javonte Williams for Pickens, but I'm intrigued by it. And if you have the running back depth, I'm not going to hate you for it. I just don't want to give 2 for Pickens. I don't want to do that. Pickens is too inconsistent for me. Good morning, Maddie Randoms. Good morning. I did not start Hunter Henry and Hawk. I lost. You know, I had some losses too, and it was a tough week. It really was a tough week. So I'm so sorry for that, Maddie Randoms. It's early though. It's early. I've always said it. If you start out 0-3, you're totally fine. In my home league, I start 0-3. Here's my motto, and this is dead. This is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Cream rises, right? Cream rises to the top. Oh yeah. And the first 3 weeks, there are no bye weeks. You do have some injury concern. I understand that. But if you're watching the show and you're plugged into fantasy football, you could fix that instantly. The people who don't watch, not just us, just they don't pay attention. They're not paying attention to the waiver wire. They're not paying attention to the fantasy pros or whatever they watch or listen to, whether it be FantasyNow Plus or another brand. They won't know what to do when the bye weeks hit and when the waivers hit and when injuries happen. You are a step ahead. So when week 7 comes along and everyone's on bye and everyone's on bye for you too, but you know what to do ahead of time, we help you plan for those weeks. So cream does rise. As in, the person 3-0 now will probably fall off because they're not paying attention to the details. Where you're 0-3 now or 1-2, you pay attention, you get ahead of the game. Listen, my home league, I'm infamous for starting 0-3, 0-4 because I don't know what it is. I just can't win my home league. I can't do it. It's impossible. I always start out 0-3, 0-4, and I always storm back up and almost make the playoffs. I go on this huge run, and I barely miss it. It's so frustrating. This year, I'm 2-1. Look out, league. Look out, league. Look out, home league. Don't let me get hot late, buddy, because I will. I'm already starting out 2-1. The league is in shambles. The league is scared right now. But enough about my league. Cream of the crop will always rise. So pay attention here at FantasyNowPlus.com. All right. So we did have some injuries this week, some pretty big injuries. Mike Evans, to me, is a huge injury. Leaving the game with a hamstring. That always happens to Mike Evans. It seems like he's probably going to play through it. He's probably going to get you some bad weeks. He's probably going to be a decoy, but this leaves the room open for Emeka Mbuku to be the wide receiver 1 for this team right now. And Chris Godwin is on a path to come back sooner than we thought. There's a path for Chris Godwin to come back next week. I don't think it's possible. I don't think they should, but it's definitely something to watch out for. And Emeka Mbuku is going to flourish with this opportunity with Mike Evans being injured. I hope they sit Big Mike and they let him sit and rest, because in the past, his entire career, he'll go out there and play and be a decoy, and it's super frustrating. But sometimes if you cross your fingers and your toes, sometimes your tongue, I don't know, cross whatever you need to cross, he will get those random one catch, one touchdown, 6 point, well, if you're playing PPR, 7.1 fantasy points. That's happened with Mike Evans many, many times with these hamstring injuries. They'll use him as a red zone target threat. But it's super frustrating starting him because 7.1 is not really what you want with your wide receiver 1 or 2. CD Lamb left the game with an ankle injury. They're saying it's not as serious as it was. I had him as my wide receiver 1 this week going against Chicago. He scored a big fat 0, so unfortunate. Better weeks are ahead. James Conner, probably the most impactful serious injury of the weekend. Serious ankle injury. They did not replay it. I was watching Red Zone, and those bastards decided to replay it again. I looked away. I don't like those kind of things, even in wrestling, like ladder matches. And I'm not into blood and gore, and I'm a wuss. It is what it is. Call me out. I don't care. Trey Benson, I'm sure the guys on Justin and Charlene will talk about Trey Benson tomorrow as probably the number 1 waiver wire pickup. And Najee Harris, non-contact leg injury, possible Achilles. It looked gross. I'm not gross. It didn't look gross, but it's just, I don't like to see I don't like when players get injured. I don't like it. It's unfortunate for them. I know, yes, I'm crying for the rich. They make millions of dollars, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, he's still a human being that has to go through recovery and all that pain. And nobody deserves that, unfortunately. Bro, another turns on the chat screen. You know what? Because maybe I don't want to see your chats, Justin. Maybe I don't want to see it. Maybe I don't want to see you. Josh Kimmel. Kimmels are getting canceled. Yes. Not going to get into all that because that's not my concern. My concern is fantasy football right now. But yes, I am watching now. I'm head on a swivel at all times. Kimmels are always being over here in Tampa, especially in the bowling industry. If you missed that, me and Adam Rank talk about the bowling controversies that the Kimmels have at Oakfield Lanes down there on Oakfield Boulevard. The Kimmels versus the I forgot their last names, but the Dirtbags. We always win. But the Kimmels are not welcome at Oakfield Lanes because we win too much. Check that interview out with Adam Rank back on the what was that, Justin? The Super League 24-hour stream. Yeah, we had Adam on. We talked bowling most of the time. Kimmels are not liked. Josh's fantasy takes often get him canceled. You know, my fantasy takes do get me canceled. Like, that's a legit thing. But like when I told you Daniel Jones was going to be good this year and people were calling me stupid and gross, and I do get canceled, but nobody picks me back up. It is what it is, right? All right, let's get to the cream of the crop. This is where I go down the top players of the week. Yes, you may know these players are good at fantasy football, but if a certain position reaches a certain spot, which quarterbacks are 20, I'll read off their score. So Jalen Hurts, his second 20-point game of the season, scored 29 points, went 21 for 32, 226 yards in the air, 3 passing touchdowns, but his lowest completion percentage on the year. That's because he had to throw the ball a ton. They had to play catch up. We're going to see this once in a while once they do need to be caught up. Geno Smith, 26.1 fantasy points coming off of his 3 interception game last week. Again, he just goes from good to bad to good. So keep in mind when starting Geno Smith, anything could happen. Caleb Williams, 29.1 points, a second 20-point game. You listen to Justin and myself on the showdown on Wednesday. We told you to start Caleb Williams. Like anyone that plays Dallas, you need to start. That was such a phenomenal game from Caleb Williams. You'd love to see Ben Johnson in the locker room afterwards, having confidence for his quarterback. I know a lot of people in the mainstream media were giving Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams a bunch of trash over it. Like, oh, Ben Johnson wants this in a quarterback. And Caleb Williams isn't that. He paints his nails. He runs the ball too much. He doesn't process things. He doesn't stop and think. Ben Johnson took that job for Caleb Williams. Let's not get it twisted here. He took that job for Caleb Williams. He saw what that offense was going to do or what could do. It's going to take time for them to get into a rhythm. Jared Goff didn't pick it up just like that. Josh Allen, we saw what he did Thursday night. Second 20-point game of the season. We'll get to the running backs in a second, Maddie. Marcus Mariota, 20.3 fantasy points on the season. He had a bonehead play where he was in the wide open, running the ball. I'm like, let's go, because I started Marcus. Let's go, let's go. And he fumbled the ball. I thought right there, boom, this guy's going to suck. But no, he picked himself back up from that fumble and recovered, scored 20 points in that game. So good for him. And Drake May, 20.2 fantasy points. Hunter Henry went bananas. Of course, last week we told you to start Hunter Henry. And this is the week he goes off. So it is what it is. Oh, and that's the best quarterbacks of the week. Is it the coach or is it Bijan? Bijan. Is it the coach or is it the Bijans? That's what I'm asked. That's what I'm getting asked right now. A little bit of both. A little bit of both, man. When your quarterback, and we'll get to the quarterback, the poopy pant quarterbacks, the bad quarterbacks. We'll get to them a little bit later on. But man, I don't know how to fix Atlanta. It's not even just Bijan. It's Drake London. It's Darnell Mooney. It's Kyle Pitts. I mean, Kyle Pitts probably looks the best he's looked since his rookie season. But it's Michael Penix. And when Michael Penix can't get the ball down the field and he's completing only 50% of his passes, it's hard for any offense to get going when you're constantly going 3 and out, or you're on, the opposite side of the field and you can't get past me. It's impossible to get an offense running when your quarterback play is as poor as it is right now. So I'm going to lean more on Michael Penix, and we'll get into him a little bit later. Let's get back to the cream of the crop with the running back position. Justin, I'm sure you're still here. Jonathan Taylor, 32.8 points, his second 20-point game. Went for 102 and 3 tutties, stealing touchdowns from my boy Daniel Jones. How dare him? Amario Hampton, rookie, 24.9. Finally. Let's go. Like, this is what we wanted to see. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to jive you at all. I was worried about weeks 1 and 2. What have they become? Are they the new passing offense? Is Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, and Lab McConkey going to be the magical trio, and Justin Herbert's going to throw for 50 touchdowns? That's what I thought. Now we're getting back on the run game. Amario Hampton looked good. Don't worry about Hampton. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He freaking blew up yesterday. Cam Scatterboo. I can say I was wrong. I know I did a lot of, if you caught it, the whole I told you this was going to happen thing. I was wrong on Cam Scatterboo. Cam Scatterboo looked decent, but if they're going to only utilize him as a running back, I don't think he's going to last. The catches are what's going to make his money. That's the butter on the bread. That is the cream on the top. The 6 catches for 61 yards, that is so vital. The 1 touchdown he scored, he did average 6 yards a carry on the ground, so that was impressive. Tyrone Tracy seems to be fading out, whereas Cam Scatterboo is on the rise, which I was wrong on. But again, it's only 1 week. We'll see how they go moving forward. CMC was everything that we thought. Well, not me. Again, I was not touching this guy. His 3rd straight 20-point game. Yes, we've only played in 3 weeks. He had 10 catches yesterday, 88 yards. You're going to need that when Jawan Johnson's out, when George Kittle's out. Brandon Ayuk, I don't even know, plays football anymore. He's going to need to catch the ball for them to succeed. He had 15 carries, 52 yards on the ground. Jordan Mason. This is going to be a story with Carson Wentz. There's reports out there that J.J. McCarthy may miss more games than we thought, up to 7 games, I heard, up to 6 games, I heard. Carson Wentz is going to need the run game for him to be successful in these games he has to cover for J.J. McCarthy. And don't get it twisted. It's not like J.J. McCarthy is anything special. He had 1 quarter of special football out of 8 or 7. I don't know when he got hurt. I forgot. Jordan Mason, you're going to need the running game to make this offense hum. The defense is good. The defense will win you games, right? The defense scored more touchdowns than the offense, I think. I can't remember. But Jordan, we'll talk about that on the IDP show Friday with Pudge. But Jordan Mason with his 116 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, that's what we're going to need to see if the Vikings want to continue winning football games. And that's what we want to see with fantasy football, man. I miss the power backs. I miss the guys who are just going to run it down the middle, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good job, Jordan Mason. James Cook, we saw what he did. So annoying. Super annoying. Super annoying. I'm not a Dolphins fan. I'm a sympathizer. Super annoying. But yes, James Cook is so good. Just hand him the ball. 9 carries a touch. Just 9 carries. 9 carries. 9 yards. 9 yards. 9. And then all of a sudden they started getting fancy. Dolphins started coming back and keep it close. Just keep on running with Cook. What are we doing? What are we doing, Josh? What are we doing? And the biggest surprise, or not surprise to me, but the biggest takeaway at the running back position of the entire weekend. And yes, we have players tonight that are playing. Jahmyr Gibbs and Derrick Henry, 2 super ultra studs, 2 guys that are untouchable, 2 guys that can't improve their stock anymore. They're already at the tippity top. Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins. I was on this guy since the start. I traded for him in every league that I could. When they say he wasn't going to sign, I said, Fooey and applesauce. Ain't happening. He's going to sign. He will be playing this year. Everyone knows it. Everyone knew that I said this. I sound like the president right now, but I apologize for that. But come on, man. 16.5 fantasy points. He was running back 9 on the week against a stout Green Bay defense. We forget that. Against a Green Bay defense that is going to shut everybody down. He only had 2 targets, but didn't need them. 18 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Judkins is officially Studkins. Judkins is going to be on your radar watch. If you drafted him late, like we kind of told you to do, you were very happy about this performance. You can't wipe this smile off my face. I am super stoked that I was able to get him everywhere. I hope you did too. He is the lead back moving forward. Jerome Ford, you're getting parked. Dylan Sampson, you were cool for a second, but let's be honest. Daddy's home. Judkins is home. It's going to be a fun season with Quinshon Judkins as your lead back. And you probably got him in round 10 or 11. Possibly later. Potentially later. Great pickup. Scotty Scoob is a solid running back with physical limitations, but does have pass catching chops. Yes. That's what he's going to have to be if he wants to be successful in this league. We're going to go to the receivers. We won't be too much on this one because Trey Tucker, 40.9. That's probably what he's going to score in the next, 7 weeks combined. Good luck with that. Big blow-up game for him. Don't see much going out of this. He's going to be picked up in a lot of your leagues. I'm not saying he's not going to do this again. I'm just saying it's very unlikely he scores even 20 points again in the game. I'm just going to put it out there. Be that as it may, do what you want with this information. Garrett Wilson. I got to take a drink after this one. Garrett Wilson. When you put the more on the catches last week because it was so low and he doesn't do it, and you're like, gosh, man, do we really need Bustin Fields for Garrett Wilson to be good? Do we need Bustin? No, because Bustin was in there a lot for week 2. And Bustin was busting. I think his quarterback rating was 1.1. It was awful. Bustin Fields was not good for fantasy football. But I thought, okay, well, he'll still feed Garrett Wilson. No, he didn't do it last week. So this week with Tyrod Taylor on the road in Tampa, I'm going, Garrett Wilson's going to stink. I ranked him way down there. Tyrod Taylor stinks. He's never done anything good in his life besides keep an NFL job and be way more successful than myself. Other than that, for football purposes, he's just a backup quarterback. There's no way Garrett Wilson's going to go off. 24.4 points, a second 20-point game. He is a super stud, whether you like it or not. He can disappear. He can. But he could also give you 10 catches and score 24 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How stressful. I know you started him because you had to because we drafted him so high. But if you had other options, you may have taken him out of your lineup because of Tyrod Taylor. And he comes out and balls out. This is a warning to you. Don't do it again. Garrett Wilson has hit that level of superstar status who demands 10 plus targets a game, who does get that, who has been top 5 in targets since entering the league. Don't sit him again. I didn't do it. I had to start him, but I thought about it. Good thing I did not. Cortland Sutton, 23.8 points, doing Cortland Sutton things. Puka Nacua, the wide receiver one on the season, 15 targets, 11 catches, 112 yards, no touchdowns yet on the season receiving wise. He's a wide receiver one on the season. So if you have Puka Nacua, congratulations to you. AJ Brown, 22.9 points. He had 35 total yards through weeks 1 and 2. He had 109 yesterday for 6 catches, 1 touchdown. Devontae Smith, 20 points as well, 8 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. So if they need to pass, they can pass. They don't want to pass the ball. They want to run the ball. So this is an anomaly, but these are super studs, unfortunately, in a bad offense. For them. JSN, 20.6 points, 5 catches, 96 yards. Where was his drop off? I heard he was going to drop off. He hasn't dropped off yet. Nico Collins, Justin, you keep on hating on him, but the man's going to keep on producing. 22.4 fantasy points, 8 catches, 104 and 1 tutty. And the biggest takeaway of the receiver position, that's not like a top guy who didn't score 20 points. Emeka Mbuka, we already spoke about him. His 3rd straight double-digit game. He is going to be the wide receiver 1 if Mike Evans can't go. He's the wide receiver 11 on the season. Emeka Mbuka, put him in your starting lineup and forget it. He's going to be there for the rest of the season. Got some questions or some comments in the chat. Henderson has not ran one run to the right, which is wild. All 16 carries the last 2 weeks. To the left, right? That's a song somewhere. They decided to pass to put it on film so teams can have a scout. Now it's back to the tush push rugby offense. Yeah, possibly. That's how they want to win games. You know, when I'm playing Madden, which I don't do anymore, which I did, I would do my style of play, my style of offense, and it won football games. I'm not throwing it deep. People make fun of me. 7-yard outs, 7-yard slants. I meticulously cut the field down. Justin knows. I just 5 yards. I just did that, and I just won football games. I controlled the clock and won football games in a video game. In a video game, they're real life. They don't care about our fantasy teams. They just want to win football games. It's just frustrating to roster those guys. Tight ends, make this real quick because none of these guys, except for Hawkinson, are normally up here. Hunter Henry, 29 points. We already spoke about him. Dalton Kincaid, 17.6 on Thursday night. TJ Hawkinson, 15.9 fantasy points. Good to see him get in the end zone. And Sprinton Strange, 12.1. We had a question about him earlier. Should I pick him up? If you have nobody else, I can suggest picking him up. It's just, am I already falling out of love? With the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think I am. Strange had 12.1 this week, 4.7 the week before, 9.9 before that. He's a tight end. If you're not one of the top guys, I can't suggest picking them up unless it's a plus matchup. You know, it's a weird year this year. We have Jake Ferguson as the tight end 1 with 45.3 fantasy points. Jawan Johnson's tight end 2. Hunter Henry, tight end 3. We all predicted this, right? Trey McBride is the tight end 4 right now at the moment. So it's just a weird landscape in the tight end situation. If you have a good one, you have a good one. If you don't, you don't. Pick the guys who are going to score touchdowns or who are going to be heavily targeted. Strange looks to be that guy, but you got to think that eventually they're going to get Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. involved. Eventually, we'll get to them in the burnt beans situation. Josh is the worst video game player ever. That's not real. That's false. But I can't say anything. I just run tight end slants. Yeah, you do, Justin. You do. Josh, don't cry because the Jaguars are over. Smile because they have to until the start of the season. Listen, the Jaguars, and if you watch wrestling, if you watch it, you'll get this. If you don't watch it, you won't. AEW came in my life, and they were supposed to be the savior. They were supposed to be the ones that took over that competed with the WWE. They were supposed to be the new hot thing we were all excited for. Oh, they got Cody. They got the Bucks. They got Kenny Omega. They got Adam Hangman Page. They got Chris Jericho. They got Trevor Lawrence. They got Travis Hunter. They got Brian Thomas Jr. They got Travis Etienne. They got Liam Cohen. They got Trayvon Walker. They got look at me naming defensive players. They got Josh Allen Hines. For what? For what? Is it a Shad and Tony Khan thing? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. I don't know. Quarterbacks that stunk this week. Oh, let me get to Garrett's question before we get to quarterbacks. Jags are 2-1. Yeah, but their offense sucks. Yeah, who cares? I got offered Neighbors for a Marion Hampton. I'm stacked at running back. It's not PPR. It's points per first down. Do I take Neighbors? Wow. So you get a point per first down. So if Hampton scores or rushes for a first down, you get an extra point. If Neighbors catches a first down, you get an extra point. Neighbors is going to rely on high volume. And points per catch aren't a big thing for you, so it doesn't matter. Malik Neighbors is, I want to say Malik Neighbors. I really do. I want to say go get the stud. That's your guy. But it being not PPR really takes things to a different level. I haven't looked at a standard league, but you can't. The points per tight end first down are very difficult to gauge because you just don't know. In a non-standard league, Malik Neighbors is the wide receiver 6 right now, but last week he would have scored you 1.3, not counting first downs. If you're stacked at running back, I don't mind getting rid of Hampton for Neighbors. That's if you're super stacked. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, pull the trigger. Get Neighbors. Take a shot on Neighbors. It depends on who your other running backs are. I'd like to know. Hampton seems to be getting more into this offense. Of course, with Najee Harris going down, there is less and less and less and less for Hampton to compete with. But man, Malik Neighbors is Malik Neighbors. I do need a wide receiver. I had Evans and CD. Oh, yeah. That hurts. Evans is going to be a week-to-week injury. CD, I'm not sure yet. We're not sure yet. Nobody really knows yet. Unless that news came out while I was live or while I'm live, man, I would take Neighbors in that situation. You know, you draft for value, you trade for need. Draft for value, trade for need. And it's a need right now. So I would definitely do it. Josh Jacobs, Jordan Mason, Trey Benson. Oh yeah. I would get that done. Go get Neighbors. Make your team a super team. MRI for CD today. Oh, it's unfortunate. All right, let's get to the burnt beans. There's nothing worse than burnt coffee, especially burnt cold brew. Actually, there is something worse. When you ask for cold brew at Dunkin' Donuts and they give you iced coffee, that is awful. That's what this segment's going to be called. It's going to be called iced coffee. Nobody likes iced coffee. It's awful. Michael Penix, 5.8 fantasy points this week. 2 sub 6-point performances in a row. You know, at Minnesota last week, you could kind of give them a little pass on. It's Minnesota. Brian Flores, top 5 defensive coordinator in the league. They bring the blitz. They bring up some exotic schemes. I don't mind that. He completed 62% of his passes against Minnesota, 135 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Just didn't do anything. Yesterday against Carolina, only 172 passing yards, 2 interceptions, 50% of his passes completed. That's a problem. That's something we brought up here on Fantasy Now Plus was his accuracy. You know, we talk about how he showed out his last week or his last couple weeks of the NFL season. I was like, I didn't see it. Week 18, nobody counts week 18. Nobody plays week 18. Week 18 is a meaningless week. That's where he balled out. I'm not really completely sold on Michael Penix yet. I need to see more with Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitt. He needs to be better. So I'm not sure if that's a coaching scheme or if it's a Michael Penix situation, but he's struggling hard right now. And if you drafted him to be a wide receiver or quarterback 1, you're in trouble. There's some other options out there. Listen to the waiver show tomorrow at noon with Justin and Charlene. Good morning, Zach. Just in time for Trevor Lawrence. 8.8 fantasy points. 8.8 fantasy points. He is now sitting behind Bryce Young in the overall rankings or stats or placement. He is the quarterback 26 on the season with Liam Cohen, with Brian Thomas Jr., with Travis Hunter, with Travis Etienne, all these people around him. They're 2-1, as Justin says. Yes, but Trevor Lawrence isn't getting it done. Quarterback 26. He's even unstartable in a super flex league. This is not the Trevor Lawrence I got on my soapbox for. So I don't know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. He needs to figure it out. Maybe less dancing in commercials with Travis Hunter and more touchdown passes in the air on Sunday. Yeah, I sound like that old dude now. Jeez, sorry. Jake Browning 7.9. Your waiver wire wonder, your $100 fab out the window. He stunk it up. Better days ahead as they win against Minnesota. It's fine. They'll be fine. Running backs, Ramondre Stevenson, 4.6 points. He had 4 carries, 18 yards, 3 catches, 38 yards, 2 fumbles. And we still saw him out there. Antonio Gibson, I believe, put the ball on the grass as well. What are we doing, Vrabel? What are we doing? What are we doing? Henderson did have 11 carries, but only limited yardage, could not get it going. We need to get Henderson more involved. Let's stop it with the Ramondre nonsense. Let's stop it. Chase Brown against the Vikings, 6 points. A stellar 0.3 yards per attempt yesterday. That's right. 10 carries, 3 yards, ungood. His yards per attempt this season are just 2.0 for the season. Not great. Ashton Jeanty was drafted in the first round for sure. 6.3 fantasy points. We need to see more for Ashton Jeanty. Get him involved in the passing game. What is happening? Tom, come on, you're up there in the booth. Take your pictures, videotape the whatever you gotta do. Get the scheme, start cheating like you did in New England. Let's get it going, man. Come on, let's get the Vegas Raiders going. Get them on that cheating plan. Get them up there. Come on. Breece Hall, 9.2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were down most of the game, so expected that. Saquon Barkley, 9.5 fantasy points. Again, they were down. They needed to pass the ball. Do not worry about Saquon Barkley. In the biggest takeaway from the stinkers at the running back position, Mr. R.J. Harvey himself, Mr. 25, Mr. Senior Citizen, R.J. Harvey, right? I was scolded. Why do you have Elick A.O. Manor above him in the rankings? Oh, that wide receiver from Tennessee is not going to do anything. Why do you have R.J. Harvey ranked below him? J.K. Dobbins dominating the work. 41 carries to Harvey's 13. I don't know, man. Hey, I was told Kyron Williams, sell him. He's 25 years old. Sell him. He's 25. Got to get rid of him. But buy R.J. Harvey, who's the same age. Sometimes you people just don't make sense. Sometimes you people just don't add up. Sell the guy who's proven he's good, but he's 25. And buy the guy who's 25 coming into the league who's done nothing. We live in a weird world, man. We live in a weird, wacky world. Weird. Wide receivers that stunk it up. T. Higgins, I'll go quick. T. Higgins, 2.5, only 2 targets. Jerry Jeudy continues to drop every single pass that goes his way. Jerry Judy's just not good at football. Travis Hunter, 6 targets, 3 catches, 22 yards. Need to see more out of Travis Hunter. Brian Thomas Jr., same situation, 7.5 fantasy points. Come on, do something. Calvin Ridley's totally droppable at this point. 3.7, 1 catch, 27 yards. It just does nothing. Just does nothing. 0. He's just unusable at this point. Tight ends, Harold Fannin, 5.5. Sorry, Will, if you're watching. Tucker Kraft, 5.9. Tyler Warren, 6.8. Again, those guys were injured coming into the week or limited in practice. Brock Bowers, 9.8. Better days ahead for Brock Bowers. Let's get Chase Brown struggles, Tajay time. Possibly. Maybe. Let's get into the nightcap, the night brew. All right, we have a big game tonight, massive game. What do you need? If you're watching this after the fact or you're watching this now, what do you need to secure your win tonight? Is it Jahmyr Gibbs? Is it Lamar Jackson? I need Zay Flowers to go off in my guillotine league. I'm struggling. I need Zay Flowers to outscore Mark Andrews by 5 fantasy points tonight for me to continue in my guillotine journey. I have never in my life finished outside of the top 5 in any guillotine league ever. I don't know how to feel tonight. I'm torn. It's my favorite league every year I run it. And this is the first year I'm actually in the process of losing early, and I'm kind of sad. Kind of sad. But Jahmyr Gibbs tonight, he's a super stud. They've been using him. He had 10 targets, 10 catches week 1. Last week didn't get as many catches. I think he's going to need to get a lot of receptions this week against Lamar Jackson. Against the Baltimore Ravens defense. I think if he gets outside, gets in space, gets those catches, utilizes those catches in space, that's where he's going to be wide receiver or running back, running back 1 on the year or on this week. Jahmyr Gibbs is a stud. You don't need to explain Jahmyr Gibbs. You just don't. Lamar Jackson's on the other side. We know what Lamar is going to do. Lamar Jackson is the MVP, should have been the MVP last year, going to be the MVP this year. He's getting the ball down the field as Zay Flowers. Would love to see Mark Andrews get more involved. Not for me personally, but for you fantasy managers out there. I know a lot of you guys are still hanging on to Mark Andrews, but he's a guy that needs to get more involved tonight. We need to see something dating back to 2024. Which is only last year, right? I know. He's had 12 20-point fantasy football games out of his last 14. His last game under 20 points was week 11 versus Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson has been on a run, a historic run. We need to pay attention to Lamar Jackson. He's going to crush tonight against Detroit. Jared Goff had 5 touchdowns last week. Going into a hostile Baltimore environment, playing outside. Want to see how this works outside against the Ravens in prime time. Don't expect 5 touchdowns again. Expect a grittier game from Jared Goff. Amon-Ra coming off that massive game as well. He's going to need to be able to put together a complete game for Jared Goff and for these Lions to ball out. We saw Keon Coleman go nuts against Baltimore week 1. I'm not saying Amon-Ra is going to go that crazy, but it could happen again. Amon-Ra is a superstar. And Jameson Williams needs to spread the field. He's a big boom-bust option. He's been booming more than busting. To me, he's a flex play. I do like Jameson Williams in this matchup a lot because they are having problems covering downfield. So Jameson Williams should get you a touchdown or so. I hope. And Zay Flowers, he is the belle of the ball. He is the most used receiver for that offense. But it's so annoying to see DeAndre Hopkins just like, 1 catch. I'm just going to catch it like this and score a touchdown. Just one time, just 1 target, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. It's so annoying. I want to see Zay Flowers get utilized in the red zone. I want to see Zay Flowers be utilized when they get down there. Zay Flowers is a superstar waiting to break out. And this is nothing against Lamar because I just hyped him up to be the greatest of all time. But if he was in a more traditional backfield or offense with like a Justin Herbert or Baker's not traditional, but you guys know, like someone who's going to throw the ball for 300 yards consistently, I think Zay Flowers would be up there in the superstar mega status. But that's it for the show, guys. That's it. What do you need? Do you need Jahmyr Gibbs to score 22 points? Do you need Zay Flowers to score 17? Drop it down in the comments below. Sound off. Thank you for everybody who's been watching. Garrett, Justin, FF Philosopher, Cap, my homie, Maddie Randoms, everyone on Twitch, everyone on YouTube, Broly 619, Boudica 619, all of you guys, I really appreciate it. Drop a like. It helps out the show more than you think. We are the first fantasy show to go live every single Monday morning, 9 a.m. Cold brews and hot takes. My name's been Josh. My name has been Josh. It is still Josh. It is Josh Kimmel. Tomorrow, they'll be live at noon for the waiver show. So if you have waiver questions, bring that up to Justin and Charlene. Wednesday, I'll be back on this network noon, arguing with Justin Powerley about 2 specific players in our showdown. We'll be live Wednesday night for our ranking show. Thursday, make sure you check us out Thursday. That's where we talk about some DFS information. Friday is our IDP show, myself and Pudge. We break down all the individual defensive players. We'll be talking about the block punts, the block field goals, the defensive scoring, the sacks, everything you need to know on the defensive side. Saturday, our dynasty show, and Sunday is our start sit question with Justin Bowerly, where he also cooks you up something delicious for your tailgate needs. FantasyNowPlus.com, Finstock Sports Network, everything you need to know. Until next week, guys, until Wednesday, be good, have fun, enjoy the day, have a good one. Peace out, guys.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.